Hey, church family, it's Patrick here. The reason I'm coming to you today is because the elders has recommended for me to be the next student and recreation minister here at Wedgwood Baptist Church. So over the last 3 years, we've been able to get to know so many of you that are on this other side of the screen, and we are so grateful for that. If we have not had the privilege of being able to meet you yet, I want to encourage you to do something for us. If you will, please come this Saturday from the time of 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. for our Q&A time, really with us. And so this is going to be a time where I'm going to be able to share the heartbeat of what we want to go, what we want to do in our student ministry, and how really God is going to continue to move in our student ministry and what direction He is leading us to go, as well as you're going to be able to ask us different questions that pertain to youth ministry or myself, so that you can get to know us a little bit. So with that being said, I'm going to take some time to really share with you really my growing up and a little bit of background about myself. So I grew up in a Christian home. I had a godly mom, dad, and I had a godly younger brother. And we grew up in church. We were at church pretty much any time the doors were open. And so through really Awana's and the guy named Mr. QJ and my parents, God continued to mold and use them to help guide me through Scripture, to point me back to Himself, for me to ask questions and them to give me biblical answers, for me to for God to reconcile me back to Himself and to really save me. And so by grace through faith, He has done that when I was 7 years old. And so from there, our life really continued to go on, and God did some really cool things in our children's ministry, all the way into our student ministry. And my senior year, God was calling me into ministry. And initially, I didn't know what that was, so I had conversations with my youth pastor, and we walked through this together. And really, it's a huge weight, and it's something that can be very scary. And so I began to kind of become fearful and kind of push back a little bit. And but over that senior year, God continued to reconcile me back to Himself. And that into that senior year, I accepted the call into ministry. And then I began to look at what children's ministry looked like and student ministry looked like, and believe that the Lord was opening a door for me to go and to get my bachelor's in business administration with a focus in business management from Kennesaw State University. So I graduated from there, and actually during that time, I was able to meet my beautiful wife. My beautiful wife and I met at Passion Conference. So this is a conference that has 60,000 people, and it's amazing that I was able to meet the one at that conference. And so about a year and a half later, we were able to be engaged and then marry and then move out here. And so we moved out here, and initially, a new area. We came out here to go to Southwestern, knowing that God was calling us out here. We didn't really know where to get plugged into a church home. And so we looked, and we ended up having a recommendation by Dr. Ross to come here on campus. And let me just tell you this quick story about us being on campus and knowing that this is a place that God had called us and founded us in. So from the very parking lot that we were able to pull up and park, we met someone that brought us into their missional community that really showed us what missional community was. We were amazed about how intentional it was, how loving they were, and how biblical they were as well. And then we went into our worship time together, and this was when Pastor Dale was finishing up the mission statement and the preaching through the mission statement and multiplying disciples, which just grabbed our heart. And so we knew from that first experience of walking on this campus that this is exactly where Lord wanted us. And so we joined the church back in 2017. And so we were able to jump in and we engaged in our missional community. And God has opened up some really cool doors since then. He has opened up a door for an internship through North American Mission Board here at Wedgwood Baptist Church for a year under Pastor Dale and Pastor Aaron. From there, he has opened up the door of really plugging us into the associate role in student ministry, and I was able to serve underneath Jay for a full year before God called him to Shady Oaks Baptist Church. And now we're here, where God has opened up a new door. And as my wife and I were actually reflecting on this past couple of weeks, we have just been astounded about how God has had His hand in all of this entire time. And so that is a little bit of our story of how we've gotten here. Now, I want to just make sure you know who I am and my family is too. So I've already mentioned my wife, Nicole. She is a rock star. We've been married for almost 4 years now. November will be 4 years for us. And we have 2 beautiful children. So my oldest is named Piper Jo. She is 2.5, almost 3 in November here. And so she is so much fun to be around. And then we also have a 16-month-old, and that's Easton. So he's our young boy. He is really so much fun. He can be a bulldozer, and he just runs and goes, and very determined little boy right there. But we have a fun time at our home, and like I said, we are excited to get to know who you are a little bit, as well as really for you to get to know us. And so here's a couple of things I want to leave you with. So some of the questions that you may have is, how do I lead? Well, I have a high view here on teamwork. And so what I mean by that, I mean for all of us coming together and we being greater than me. You know, that's one of our guiding principles here at Wedgwood Baptist Church, and I wholeheartedly believe that in my heart. Another thing that we really want to focus in on, specifically in student ministry, to give you a little nugget, is that parents are so important, and they're vital in the lives of their students. And so our vision of where we want to go is we want to begin to continue to partner with parents throughout the entire student ministry, really for the goal of our students to be better disciples, and to not just be able to leave our student ministry and go off to college and just persevere. We want to see them lead, and we want to see how God continues to use them over the time that they leave our student ministry. So those are just some quick things about us. I really hope that I am able to have the opportunity to talk to you and to share with you and to answer questions here this Saturday from 3 to 5 in the gym. And so, I look forward to talking to you then. See you Saturday.